All right, everybody. So this video is to just go along with the notes that I'm sending out with it, the where the chords come from notes that you should have in your emails. So just have that out while you're watching this. Okay, so the major scale, as it says, is really defined not by the notes that are in it, because you could start a major scale from any note. What defines a major scale is the gaps between the notes, or intervals as they're known. So if we start on C, so we got our open C string there, that's giving us a C note. And then we go up a tone, tone, then a semitone, then tone, 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 semitone. So just remember that little sequence: tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Okay, so if we go up from here, C up a tone, which is two semitones, or to the value of 2 frets in the case of the ukulele. So there's our next note. Up another tone. Now we could just as easily play that note here. So we're going to go up a tone, up another tone. Semitone is next, just 1 fret. Then a tone, another tone, which we could get here, another tone, and then a semitone again to round it off. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, if you look at this note, at the notes that we're playing here, it's C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Or another way to look at it is Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, Do. Do at the bottom, Do at the top. 1 at the bottom, 8 at the top, right? So 8 refers to the same note as 1. That's why the distance between here and here is called an octave, right? Even though there's 12 actual notes between there, we don't use all of them. So that's the little chromatic scale down below. That's just all the notes, without any of them being skipped, with all the sharps included. Okay, so as it says, the major and minor chords are made up of the first, third, and fifth, right? So the notes of, let's say, C are going to be the first. That's just the bottom note, the root note, note with the same name as the chord. 1, 2, 3. So C major has this note and this note. Now we know it's a major because the gap between the first and the third is 2 tones, or 4 semitones, okay? In other words, a major gap, as opposed to that'd be a minor gap, minor third. So major third, so 1, 2, 3, 4, well, 4, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's C, E, and G. So the notes, so any arrangement of the notes C, E, and G makes up a C major chord. Now, the arrangement of the notes relative to each other does matter to a certain degree, but on the ukulele, because of the limited amount of strings and the fact that you've got a high string on the top and the bottom, it's not really feasible to worry about that. So for this video, the arrangement of the notes doesn't matter. As long as you have some combination of those 3 notes, then you've got the chord you're looking for. So if we look at the way we play it, then that's a G note, so there's the 5th. There's a C note, that's the 1st. There's an E note, that's the 3rd, and then there's a C note. So we can call that the 8th, but for practical intents and purposes, we'll just call it the 1st again. Okay, so moving on then, if we were to go to D, we call this, so there's our D note. There's the, so in the case of, that's our 2nd note in the scale, but for the purposes of the D chord, it's the 1st because it's got the same name as the D chord. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, so we've got a D note and an F note. 4th, 5th, and an A note. So we've got a D, an F, and an A. So if we look at the way we play it, now that's our D minor chord here. So you've got G, G sharp, A, an A note in it, C, C sharp, D, A, D. There's our E string, 1 up from E, is F, because as you see in the chromatic scale, there is no E sharp, so that just goes straight to F. And then open A string again, we've got our fifth. So there's our fifth, first, third, minor third, because if I play them on the one string here, you can see that there's 1, 2, 3 semitones between the first and the third, and that's what makes it a minor chord. Okay, so that's pretty much, so I don't want to go on too long now, but that's where they all come from. So for example, if we just take the diminished chord there for a second, this is more of a curiosity thing more than anything, because we don't generally use diminished chords. They sound a bit, weird, frankly. So if we just take our E minor here, now we'll leave this string. Probably don't have to, we can include that one. So we've got our E note, G note, and B note. First, third, fifth. This would be major if we could bring this one up here. There's E major, assuming I'm leaving this one out. Okay, but E minor. Now, if we flatten, if we take the fifth is always 7 semitones above the first in a major and minor chord. So if you flatten it, you get that creepy, weird sounding diminished chord. It's the classic scary chord. So that's how diminished chords work. And just the way the scale is set up, that seventh chord in a major key, it always gives you a diminished chord. Just if you look at how the chords are derived, you'll see that that's how it's always going to work. Okay, so for an example then, if we bring it back to what we generally do, if we take Let It Be, chord of C, it's in the key of C, so that's our chord of 1. C, G, chord of 5, A minor is chord of 6, F, chord of 4, back to 1, 5, 4, and then 1. If we take it to a minor key, let's say Right On, for example, that starts off on A minor. Now we're in the relative minor, the key of A minor. Okay, so A minor, the next chord is F, then G, and then it goes back to A minor, right? So what is that in terms of firsts and fifths? Well, so it's A, B, C, D, E, F. So that's the sixth. 1 up from F is G, so that must be the 7th. And then back to the first again. So that's 1, 6, 7, 1 is how that would work. So just something to think about there. And it's difficult to kind of get this stuff to sink in one video. So just have a think about these things in these terms, and a lot will sort of, fall into place. And of course, we've only been dealing with the one key as well, so I'll expand out on this later. So, more to come on this, but, not too much more, hopefully. So have a think about the stuff we've already been doing in these terms, and then see if anything makes a bit more sense. All right, I'll talk to you next time.